Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to the fifth session of History, chapter number 9, The Making of the National Movement from 1870s to 1947. Children, in the previous session, we have discussed about Rolex Satyagraha, Khilafat agitation, Salt Satyagraha. So, all these were movements against British rule in India. So, children, today in this session, we will discuss about Gandhiji's new phase of movement against the Britishers in the middle of Second World War. And we will also see how we got independence. Children, now we will discuss about Quit India movement. So children, as discussed, Gandhiji decided to initiate a new phase of movement against the Britishers in the middle of Second World War. Children, from the word itself, Quit India, we can understand that Gandhiji wanted Britishers to quit India immediately. Gandhiji also said to people, do or die in your effort to fight against the Britishers. But you must be fighting non-violently. And children, with the spread of this movement, Gandhiji and other leaders were jailed also by the Britishers because this movement attracted peasants and youth people who left their studies to join this movement. Children, communications and symbols of state authority were attacked by people all over the country, and in many areas people also set up their own governments. Now children, we have also studied in various chapters that British people were also in return, they were giving lot of punishments to the people. Now the first response of the British was severe repression, and by the end of 1943 over 90,000 people were arrested and around 1,000 people were killed in police firing. Children, in many areas orders were given to machine gun crowds from airplanes. The rebellion, however, brought the British Raj, to its knees. Children, this is a picture of Subhash Chandra Bose. He was a radical nationalist. Children, we have discussed in the previous slides, previous sessions maybe, about the radicals and moderates of Congress. Radical leaders were criticizing the moderate leaders of Congress, the way they were working. So Subhash Chandra Bose was a radical nationalist and he did not follow Gandhiji's ideals of ahimsa, means the fight against Britishers non-violently. Though he respected him as a father of the nation, but he was not following the ideals of Gandhiji. Children, in January 1941, Subhash Chandra Bose, he secretly left his Calcutta home. He went to Singapore via Germany and raised the Azad Hind Fauj or INA, means Indian National Army. And children, to free India from Britishers' control in the year 1944, the INA tried to enter India through Imphal and Kohima, but the campaign failed. And INA members, that is Indian National Army members, were imprisoned and tried by Britishers. People across the country from all the walks of life participated in the movement against the INA trials. Children, now on the one side, various groups of India like peasants, youth who have left their studies and they participated in various movements, struggles, efforts against the Britishers to get independence. And children, on the other side, in the year 1940, the Muslim League, they were demanding independent states for Muslims in the north, west and eastern parts of the country. Now this demand maybe didn't mention about partition or Pakistan. But now question was, why did the League demand independent states for Muslims? Or why they were asking for autonomous arrangement for the Muslims of the subcontinent? Children, now from the late 1930s, the League began viewing the Muslims as a separate nation from the Hindus. Maybe because it have been influenced by the history of tensions going on between Hindus and Muslim groups in the 1920s and 1930s. And children, more importantly, the provincial elections of 1937 seemed to have convinced the League that Muslims were in minority. And they would always have to play second fiddle in any democratic structure. Children, now we have seen in the earlier session also that the Indian Government of India Act of 1935, which prescribed provincial autonomy, in that Congress formed governments in 7 out of 11 provinces. Now it feared that Muslims may even go unrepresented because they were in minority now. And also the Congress rejection of the League's desire to form a joint Congress League government in the United Provinces in the year 1937. So because of these reasons, maybe the Muslim League demanded separate states for independent states for Muslims. Children, when in 1930s Congress were not able to mobilize Muslim masses, it allowed the League to widen its social support. Children, we have discussed in the previous slide that the provincial elections of 1937 that convinced the League that Muslims were in minority and they would always have to play less role or second important place they have in any democratic structure. So this feared Muslims that they may even go unrepresented. And even in 1937, Congress rejected League's desire to form a joint Congress League government in the United Provinces. So this also annoyed the League. Even children in 1940, the Muslim League they demanded independent states for Muslims in the north, west and eastern areas of the country. Though at that time they didn't mention partition or Pakistan. And even in 1940s, they were able to extend their support when most of the Congress leaders were in jail. And children, at the end of the war in 1945, British opened negotiations between Congress, League and themselves for the independence of India. But these negotiations or talks failed because Congress didn't accept this claim. Only large number of Muslims supported it. These talks failed because the League saw itself as a sole spokesperson of India's Muslims. Now, children, in the year 1946, again elections happened in the provinces and Congress did well in the general constituencies. Even League got success in the seats reserved for Muslims. Now, because of this, they demanded Pakistan for Muslims. In March 1946, the British cabinet sent a three-member mission to Delhi to examine this demand, that is Muslims' demand for Pakistan, and to suggest a suitable political framework for a free India. So this mission suggested that India should remain united and constitute itself as a loose confederation with some autonomy for Muslim majority areas. Means some autonomy of powers should be given to Muslims also, where Muslims are in majority. Now, this was not accepted by Congress as well as Muslim League. They both didn't agree to specific details of the proposal. So children, partition was like it was unavoidable. It was not avoidable. It was more or less going to happen. Children, in the previous slide, we have discussed that Muslim League demanded for Pakistan. Children, we have also discussed that in March 1946, the British cabinet sent a three-member mission to Delhi to examine this demand and to suggest a suitable political framework for a free India. Now, children, this mission suggested that India should remain united and constitute itself as a loose confederation with some autonomy for Muslim majority areas. It means autonomy of powers should be given to Muslims also in the areas where Muslims are in majority. But they should remain united. Children, we have also seen that the suggestion of mission was not accepted by Congress and the Muslim League. Means they both didn't agree to specific details of the proposal. And because of which partition became more or less inevitable. Inevitable. Now, children, after the failure of cabinet mission, Muslim League decided mass agitation to fulfill its Pakistan demand. And it announced 16th August 1946 as a direct action day. Children, on this day, riots broke out in Calcutta, which lasted for several years, and it resulted in the death of thousands of people. And children, by March 1947, violence spread to different parts of northern India. Now, children, many hundred thousand people were killed. Women had to face untold brutalities. Millions of people were forced to leave their house. They were forced to leave their homelands and they became refugees in the alien lands. Children, now partition also meant that India changed and many of its cities changed. And a new country, Pakistan, was born out of it. Children, so on the one hand, we can say that when India was unitedly fighting against the Britishers to have this independence, they participated in various movements, struggles to fight against the Britishers and to get this independence. So finally, India got independence. But this joy of our country's independence from Britishers' rule came mixed with the pain and violence of Pakistan partition. So children, in this whole chapter, we have discussed about emergence of nationalism. We have discussed about Dadabhai Naroji. We have discussed about Bal Gangadhar Tilak and growth of mass nationalism. We have discussed about various movements like Roll Act Satyagraha, Salt Satyagraha, Khilafat agitation, the Chauri Chaura incident, and about Simon Commission. Children, we have also discussed about Quit India movement, and finally independence and partition. So children, I hope you have understood everything in this chapter. You have understood different moments. Thank you children. Stay home, stay safe and take care.